Greetings. I think we're ready to get started. I will go ahead and hand it to our president to kick us off, Aaron Russell.
All right. Thank you, Jean. Welcome, welcome everyone, especially to our guest for tonight. We are the Golden Speakers Toastmasters of Fairfield, Iowa. It is our February 2nd. It's crazy that we're already in February now. Regular Tuesday meeting at 7:45, virtually via Zoom. Our club mission, as always, is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn result in greater self-confidence and personal growth. So let's hear it for our mission.
Yay!
As I mentioned, we do have a guest for tonight. Lewis, would you care to introduce yourself and talk to us about what brought you out tonight?
Yes, my name is Lewis Denbaum, former Golden Speakers Toastmaster, former president of the club at one point. I think I got just about one speech away from silver, and I lost my momentum. Art Atkinson invited me to come hear him speak.
Excellent.
And I'm happy to see that there's still a handful of you keeping the spirit going.
Well, we appreciate you coming out tonight, and thank you to Art for inviting Lewis to tonight's meeting. With that, I will pass it off to our Toastmaster for tonight, Jean Symington Craig. Take it away, Jean.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will go ahead and get started with our meeting and our roles. Our theme tonight is courage. Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. And that's from Winston Churchill, statesman. Another quote, without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. And that's from Maya Angelou, author. With that, we'll go ahead and introduce our role players for the evening, and we'll start with Dan Craig, who will be our timer tonight.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. As timer, I will keep track of all the speaking roles tonight. We have a prepared speech, which is 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to use the virtual backgrounds. So Art will have his view on gallery so he can see us all. At 5 minutes, I'll give you the green background. At 6 minutes, the yellow background. At 7 minutes, the red background. And then Art will have 30 seconds to wrap up. We're going to have table topics, which are 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute is green, 1:30 is yellow, 2 minutes is red with 30 seconds to wrap up. And as we all know, we have 30 seconds at the beginning to think about what we want to say during our impromptu speech. Then evaluations. The speech evaluation will be 2 to 3 minutes, green at 2, yellow 2:30, red at 3 with 30 seconds grace period. We'll decide when we get there how long the table topics evaluator will need. I'll give a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. We'll skip around a little bit here. Next, we'll hear from our counter, Aaron Russell.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, viewers at home, as your counter for tonight, it is my duty to listen for words and sounds which are used as a crutch or pause filler by our speakers. During the meeting, I'll listen for overused words such as ands to combine two independent sentences together. Well, but, so, you know. Also filler sounds such as and also note when speakers have a double dribble or a false start, such as saying I I, or this means, this means. And then I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Aaron. Next, we'll hear from our grammarian, who is Dan Craig.
Thank you again, everyone. It's been too long. As grammarian tonight, I have two roles. One is to give you a word of the day. If you'll look at your chat, you'll see that I've sent you today's word, which is audacious. That's an adjective. It has several similar meanings. One is disposed to venture or to take risks. Another, unrestrained by convention or propriety. The third is invulnerable to fear or intimidation. A sample sentence: his audacious plan to save his company had great potential upside, but also risked disaster. So see if you can use audacious in your speaking tonight. The other thing I'll do as grammarian is listen to the speaking roles that occur tonight and jot down any phrases that catch my ear as being particularly colorful or memorable. If I happen to hear any grammar that needs some correction, I may give a correction at that time when I give a report at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. We'll hear from our general evaluator, Bob Fogel, who will be doing our very advanced evaluating the evaluators. It's always a extra little analytical tweak there. And we'll also hear from our joke master, Art Atkinson. Art, you know you're the joke master as well?
Yes, and I'm equipped.
Okay. Okay.
With the joke?
Yeah, he's got, yeah. Yes.
Rim shot.
Yeah, yes. Okay, good. So we'll hear from Art later. All right. Now we're ready to listen to our prepared speak. Oh, Bob?
Dan, I have not received your chat yet for the word of the day or the meeting yet. I don't know if anybody else has.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Well, you know, what I've noticed, and it's good, is that Dan, you may have to, the grammarian may have to wait till the last second, because if you're logging on after he's already put it in the chat, your chat is empty.
Well, did anybody get it?
I didn't get it,
Nobody got it.
but I logged in at the last second. So.
Maybe I have to hit enter.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
There you go.
Guys, it's
That was
right
an
there on my screen.
That was an audacious move there, Dan.
Yeah. All right. Well, and that's a tip if you're the grammarian, is you may want to just get it all ready to go. And then once you see the whites of everybody's eyes, you can send it. So that's a good thing. Thank you, Dan, for that educational opportunity. All righty. So now we're up for our prepared speech for the evening. That's going to be Art Atkinson. And first we'll hear from his evaluator, Aaron Russell, on the objectives and what Art is trying to accomplish this evening.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Art's speech for tonight is the persuasive speaking speech. As such, the goal of this speech is to persuade us, his audience, on any such topic. He may appeal to emotions, ethics, or logic in his persuasive conduct for this speech. It can be humorous, informational, or any other style that they choose. So that's what I will be looking for as his evaluator for tonight's speech.
Good.
Back
Thank you.
to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Art Atkinson has been a Toastmaster a little bit longer than me. So I'm going to say, I think I looked it up at one point. It was like early 2006, Art, and he has been a Toastmaster ever since. He lives in Fairfield with his wife, Susan Gale, wonderful person. And tonight he is going to be giving his speech entitled, "Bitcoin is Money? Question mark, exclamation mark. Give me a break." Please help me warmly welcome Art Atkinson.
Yay!
We have an audience in-house.
Okay.
Bitcoin is money? Give me a break. It's not backed by anything of value. It's a bunch of electrons floating around in some corner of the internet. What if the internet goes down? I lose my money. Its value bounces all over the place. Cannot put it in the bank. Can't buy a cup of coffee with it. It's mostly just good for criminal enterprise. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers everywhere. As I went through that litany, you might be thinking to yourself, well, heck, the US dollar is not backed by anything of value. It's a bunch of electrons floating around in some bank ledger. Except for maybe a tiny percentage that you take of your dollars in physical cash form, probably paper. The US dollar is a fiat currency. It's losing value at 2 to 5% a year by policy. Criminals actually prefer US dollars, cash dollars, for their enterprises far more than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is vastly more traceable. So what is money? Money was a discovery by humankind in the transition between hunter-gatherer, barter, and agrarian civil economies. Gold and silver were discovered 5,000 years ago as the best money. They were durable, they were scarce, and you could make them uniform, so that one piece was like another. Kings and emperors kind of got into the game a little bit later when they recognized the tremendous power that it allows from the person who controls money over a population of people who use that money. That power difference was illustrated beautifully by a very famous quote from the founder of the Rothschild banking dynasty in Europe. He said, "Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes his laws." Far more powerful to have the money power than to have the legal powers. So the functions of money are to be a medium of exchange, a unit of account, and a store of value. What does that mean? A medium of exchange. If we're in a barter economy and I have potatoes and I want a horse, the guy who has the horse has to somehow be able to trade potatoes for a horse if we're going to do a deal. And money allows for an exchange in a situation like that. If the guy with the horse doesn't want potatoes, he can still do business with me. A unit of account allows him to figure out how many bags of potatoes I need to give him for his horse. And a store of value means he knows what the horse that he's going to foal next is going to be worth down the line when that foal becomes of age to sell. The world has got a store of value problem right now, a great big one. We're awash globally in fiat currencies, paper money. By fiat means by decree, by force, legal tender laws. The US dollar Fiat currency is the anchor of the global financial system, and it's lost anywhere from 95 to 97% of its value since 1913, when the Federal Reserve was put in place to maintain its purchasing power. Every fiat currency in history has gone to zero. No exceptions. Eventually, they go to zero. This creates right now a demand for a store of value solution. How does it affect you not to have a store of value solution as a US dollar? Since you can't store values very long in dollars, let's say you're saving for a college education, your child, when they're 18, the dollars that you save in a 3% inflation environment are worth 57 cents. You're saving for your retirement in a 2% inflation environment. Your dollars in 35 years of a working career are worth 49 cents. Makes it darn hard to save over any length of time. So how does Bitcoin stack up in all this? Well, for one thing, it's going mainstream. Square back in 2018 with their Cash App allowed you to buy and sell and hold Bitcoin. PayPal did the same in 2020. It's now easy to acquire Bitcoin if you want to do it simply. The Office of the Controller of the Currency, July last year, said banks can offer custodial services, meaning you can put Bitcoin in the bank. And they're now allowing banks to use the underlying Bitcoin technology as they might want to use what's called blockchain technology to facilitate their operations. In December this year, just passed, Massachusetts Mutual made $100 million investment in Bitcoin for their corporate investment strategy. And Square Incorporated did one for $50 million. So BTC's advantage, BTC, Bitcoin, has some advantages. It's universally available. It has unrivaled security, simple, quick, inexpensive transactions anywhere in the world. It's too volatile to be a good unit of account yet. As a store of value, it's superior. Its price relative to dollars just keeps going up. So yes, Bitcoin really is money. It's very young. It's only been around for 10 years. So it's still got a long ways to go before it's a worldwide, global, accepted standard. But it offers a solution for anybody who's concerned to store wealth over time. It's good at that. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay. Let's go ahead and have the timer give us 2 minutes. And you can put comments to Art in the message area, in the chat area. Just select his name and go ahead and send to him. Let's go ahead and ask if from our timer, did our speaker qualify?
No, I'm afraid he did not.
He did not. Okay. He had Bitcoin stars in his eyes. All righty.
He thought he could bribe you.
Let's just ask if.
Well, send me a chat with some Bitcoin and we'll see.
I bet it wasn't too bad. Art's been pretty good these days. Aaron, are you ready to do an evaluation? Or would you like a little more time?
If I had a little bit more time, I would appreciate it.
If I had a little more time. Okay,
Yeah.
little Fiddler on the Roof.
Louis, did you say something about having to leave at 8:10?
Yeah, I do have to leave. I'm enjoying this so much. It brings back fond memories.
Well, Louis, the link is the same that you
Okay.
used to get in. So it's a standing open invitation.
That's great. I appreciate that.
Yep.
I do miss being able to stop by the ice cream refrigerator, get a small cup of Haagen-Dazs before coming to the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you all. This is great. This is
All
great.
right, Lois. All right.
Great to see you.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you.
All right. Be audacious.
All right.
Okay. All right. So Aaron would like a little more time. So let's go ahead and go over to our table topics master for the evening, and that would be Bob. Yay, Bob.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Excuse me. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and our viewers at home. This evening, as my table topics, I have a choice of about 9 questions, thinking maybe we have enough for 2 each, but we'll see how the meeting goes. That being said, who would like to go first? All right, Jean, you're showing some courage tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Since I'm the evaluator, so this is a freebie. So
All right, let me crank up the volume here. 1 through 9, Jean, what would you like?
ooh, 4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you believe that the more courage you possess, the more money you make? Please explain.
Ah, that was good. You added that. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and viewers at home. I think there is a link between courage and financial success. I'm not going to say it's the only link or it's the only factor, but I believe that financial success, like many endeavors, comes with a period where mistakes are made. Directions are taken that don't pan out, have to turn back, go a different direction before hitting on the right mix and the right formula for really unfettered success. The courage comes in being able to accept those defeats, accept those mistakes, make those changes in directions, hold steady, have that courage of knowing yourself and knowing that you will prevail. That's where the link comes in. As our quote at the beginning of the meeting, Maya Angelou said that courage is really the foundation to make sure that all your other virtues are practiced consistently. I guess I would say that the more courage that an individual has, the more likely, it's not guaranteed, but the more likely that person will meet with financial success throughout their lives.
Good job, Jean. Who would like to be next? 1 through 9 minus 4.
Okay, Bob.
Oh yeah, yes,
Well-
Art's in. Number 3, did you say, Art? What did you say? Or are you just waving? I didn't catch what.
I just waved. I feel
Okay.
like a roll.
Okay. What number would you like?
Number 3 is fine.
Number 3 is fine? Okay. Here we go, Art. Was there someone in your life that displayed great courage who became your hero? Please explain.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Topics Master. Yes, there was such a person in the person of my father, Arthur Arnold Atkinson Jr. He was raised in Boston. He went to the United States Coast Guard Academy, and because of the needs in the Navy for World War II, he graduated in 3 years coming out of the Coast Guard Academy when the normal course of instruction for cadets was 4 years. They rushed his class through so that they could get into service in the Atlantic. So he served on destroyer escorts and destroyers in the Atlantic Theater for all of World War II. That means you're blasting around the Atlantic Ocean, and the fastest boat that the Navy has, loaded with depth charges that you can offload onto destroyers, which go out and find submarines and drop depth charges. And a depth charge is just a fancy way of saying a big bomb designed to sink a submarine. And you get exposed to bad weather, toxic chemicals, danger of being shot or otherwise injured. He did all of that, then he went on to be, for 20 years, an officer in the U.S. Coast Guard, running a ship that had to go to sea in bad weather to rescue people. Takes courage to be the commanding officer of a ship full of men on a mission like that. That is what the work is for a U.S. Coast Guard officer. And he carried it off really well. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Art. Dan or Aaron? 1 through 9 minus 3 or 4. Dan, go ahead.
I'll see if I can time myself unless somebody else wants to do it.
I'll time you, Dan.
Okay, thanks, Art. Let's have number 1.
Number 1. Can you share of a time that you acted courageously and triumphed?
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. I played sports in junior high and high school. And I think one thing that sports do is give you the opportunity to have little concentrated slices of life, or pack into a small space and time the kind of experiences that you may run into later in your life. The funny thing I learned in football, which I was not particularly talented at, the funny thing I learned about football is that once you had been hit the first time in a given day, your adrenaline popped up and you suddenly weren't so worried about being hit anymore. I don't know if it was particularly courageous, but one time in junior high school, our coach was kind of trying to teach us a lesson about being tough. And the way he was making it work was, it was the end of the day. We were hot. We were tired. Wanted to be done with practice. He wouldn't let us go in unless we fought our way through all the other players into the dressing room. That's what was on offing. But it turns out that I was running plays as quarterback that day, and for some reason we ran some play. I ended up with the ball. I think I may have missed the handoff, and then I managed to break like 5 or 6 tackles in a row. And he said, "Okay, you can go in." I didn't have to do the whole exercise that everybody else did. So that was my experience of adrenaline-fueled courage.
Some good answers tonight. Aaron?
I got a time on that then.
What was the time?
2:06.
Okay, thanks.
Lay it on me, Bob.
Okay, Aaron. You want me to just pick one for you? Or do you want a number?
7 still open? I wasn't paying attention.
Yep. 5, 6, 7. Okay, Aaron. Have you ever lost a battle solely due to the fact that you lack courage, only to find out later that the battle could have been won? Please explain.
Hello, Toastmasters, viewers at home. Working with operators on the shop floor can often lead to frustration at times, especially when you feel very strongly about something that you would like them to do, and they decide that, I don't really feel like doing it, or I don't really feel like doing it in that way. And a lot of times, especially if they don't agree with it, they will give you the lip service, and then when you walk away, they'll just decide, he's not looking, so I'm just going to do it the way that I want to anyway. We had an operator on the shop floor in Ottumwa who was notoriously difficult to work with. Even the factory manager had this guy's number. And I was trying to talk to him about a certain part which would always have quality issues coming out of the paint line. There were certain areas where the paint would not naturally, where it would always have bare spots due to limitations of the process. So we'd have to touch it up with a rattle can, a spray bottle of paint. And he wouldn't do it. He'd tell me that, oh yeah, I do that. And then we'd look at him later on and they wouldn't be there. And I got really frustrated with him, but he just wouldn't listen. Well, of course, the supervisor, he pretty much laid down the law and put very specific limitations in place and explained to him very thoroughly and gave him a very rigorous argument as far as how this needs to be done and what needs to be accomplished. And the guy finally gave in. He finally decided that he was going to do it, just because he laid down, he got down on his level and he actually spoke to him in a way that resonated with him, instead of just kind of getting angry and frustrated with him. If I had had the courage to actually stand up to this guy a little bit more and actually talk to him on a man-to-man basis, I think that I would have gotten through to him a lot sooner than the supervisor finally did. So that was definitely a learning process for me. Thank you for the question.
Mr. Timer, do we have enough time for another one, or do we need to move on?
I think we're close. Let's see, the schedule says,
Actually, the Toastmaster gets that question
Oh,
because I'm the one who's keeping it real, so to speak. And we still have Aaron. So let's see, 8:32, 8:27. We still have Aaron to go.
We probably need to move on.
So, yeah. All righty. I think maybe we should go on. Is that right? Now I'm going to ask for group consensus.
I would agree.
yes,
Okay.
we should
All right.
go on.
Okay. Did everybody answered one except for Bob?
correct.
All right. Well, Bob will get a chance to evaluate evaluators. So, all right. Mr. Timer, would you please tell us which table topics qualified?
The qualifiers were Jean, Art, and Dan.
Jean, Art, and Dan. Okay. So please send me your vote on that. And then let's go ahead and move back. And Bob, I can go ahead and let you, wait, let's see. I should do my table topics evaluations. All right.
So then I'll evaluate you, correct?
You're going to evaluate me as the general evaluator, correct? As the table topics master, now you can hand off to me. Just say, now we'll call up our table topics evaluator.
Now we'll call up our table topics evaluator.
Yeah. Way to go. Boop, boop, boop. All right. And I only have 3. Is that right? So then we had 4 and then Bob was 5. Okay. So hold on to those questions, Bob. We may have to do a courage part 2 at some point.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds great.
All right. I think I can do this in a 2 to 3 minute, Dan.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and viewers at home. I'll start with Art. Art had the question, who was someone, because of their courage, became a hero for him. I really liked his specificity right out of the gate. He's Arthur, and I forget that I didn't catch the initial, Arthur Atkinson Jr. Boom. And with a name like that, of course, it's got to be Art's father. He gave us a story about the Coast Guard and how his father was involved with that. It was all very good. My suggestion to Art would be that the question, I think, conveyed wanting to know about you and your connection to this person. And I felt the story was pretty much about the father. I'd like to have heard a little bit more about conversations you might have had with him, or you're the son looking up to the father, and some more of Art being in there with a father as a hero. Dan had the question about, was there a time that he acted courageously and triumphed? He went from large to smaller to smaller. He sports, and then football, and then adrenaline in football, and then he got to the story about fighting his way through the group, which was fun. And he did have a good conclusion. He did conclude that this was adrenaline-fueled courage. So that was very well done. By the way, everyone addressed the audience. So I'm just going to say that up front. My suggestion to Dan was, I felt it took a little too long to get to that main story, which was the setting. I probably would have even started, just forget the sports, just go right into football, make comment about adrenaline, and then go right into this story about all these, it was a junior high guys trying to fight each other to go back to the locker room. Gosh, what a sadistic coach. Well, I didn't play football. Aaron had the question, something about that if there's a situation, he did not show the courage that he could have, and he realized later that the situation could have been a triumph or resolved well if more courage had been displayed. I was writing out because I felt that he hadn't answered the question. At least I couldn't see it with all of the stuff with the shop and the other guy and all of this stuff. And then at the very end, he wrapped it up. He said if he realized if he had said something sooner, he would have been able to correct the situation. So skated there right at the end, it passed my one suggestion. I do think it was a little bit, a little bit roundabout. So I would just say, think about tightening it. Well, all right, back with the Toastmaster role now. And Bob, I'm going to hand it off to you and let you, as the general evaluator, introduce our other evaluator, which is Aaron, and let you also take notes on evaluating him as well.
Okay. Let me get my, So Aaron, we're going to pass off to you for another evaluation of this wonderful night, and you can pass it back to me, or Jean, excuse me, or Toastmaster when you're done. Take it away, Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. Art gave us another spectacular speech tonight. I'd like to note that I think that my evaluation of Art's speech began before he even first spoke, as I saw his title, which was titled, "Bitcoin is Money, Give Me a Break." I really like this speech. It sets the tone, and it already lets us know the argument that Art wants to make. So even before Art starts speaking, we already know what to expect. So I really appreciate that Art took the time to give us a really good title. He immediately reiterated his stance on the topic. During his introduction, he restated the title and also gave some backing reasons within the first 10 to 15 seconds of his speech, which is awesome, especially in a persuasive speech. We need to know what his argument is. So he did a great job of reminding us of that. I would like to especially note that Art used a lot of hand gestures tonight, quite more than I usually see him do. And I know obviously a lot of this is due to Art's physical limitations, but I appreciated the effort that he put into it, and I think it really paid off. I especially like to make note of when he said that it goes to zero, he actually made the zero sign and just added some emphasis to the speech. Liked it. He started out with a ton of vocal variety, especially at the beginning, almost got in our faces. Give me a break, Bitcoin is money. And I think that at the beginning of the speech, he had this high energy. I think some of it died down a little bit towards the middle and end of the speech. So I would just encourage Art to find some moments throughout the speech to maintain that higher level of energy and keep the audience engaged. It was very informative. He gave us the history of money and currency, corruption related to it. Comparing Bitcoin to the US dollar is also great, especially given Bitcoin is very confusing to understand. I found that some of the more technical jargon that Art got into towards the middle, some of it lost me a bit, and I would assume that I'm not the only one. I think given the subject matter, Bitcoin is it requires a lot of like computer science knowledge in order to understand. But I would encourage Art in the future, when you're giving speeches such as this, try to find ways to dumb it down for your audience, would be how I would describe it. Art had really great eye contact throughout the speech. I did notice that sometimes his eyes would dart to what I assume was his script for his speech. So encourage maybe a little bit extra time of reviewing your speech and being a little more well memorized in it so that you don't have to look over at it so much. But overall, great eye contact when he was looking at us. Overall, I think Art gave us a wonderful speech, very well rehearsed. And I think that given today's society, I think that this is a very intriguing and relevant topic for us. So we appreciate Art's speech. Thank you very much.
Now we do need to, Bob, I'm hopping in here just a minute. We do need to see which evaluators qualified and go ahead and vote on that. And that would be Dan.
Doesn't the
Thank you.
Toastmaster ask that? Or
Anybody that asks, I'll respond. Both evaluators qualified. We can vote for Aaron or for Jean.
Okay. And you send that to me. Meanwhile, we could go ahead and let Bob continue.
Well, thank you, Jean.
Yeah, we'll let Bob continue.
Okay.
Aaron.
Well, I will.
that was supposed to be our secret, Jean.
I know. Okay, sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and go through the roles at the reports, and then
Okay.
you'll give your evaluation of the evaluators.
Okay. So, Dan, did who qualified this evening?
I'll give you the times for everything that happened.
That'll work.
That's the way my timer report will be. Fellow Toastmasters, our prepared speech, Art was 8 minutes and 1 second. Table topics, Jean, 1:49, Art 2:24, Dan 2:06, Aaron 2:36. Evaluators, Jean, table topics was 3:21, Aaron for the speech was 3:22. That's my report.
Thank you, Dan. Now, next to Dan, our grammarian.
I'm on a roll now, fellow Toastmasters. I believe the only audacious user of audacious was Jean.
Yay.
So I'd like to present the Audacious Award.
I think Bob used it once.
Used it once.
Oh, did you? I missed that.
Well, I think when
You began. Because you were holding out for the chat, and I said that was a very audacious.
Yes,
You cannot.
yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
Dan was
I
too
was-
busy trying to
I
figure
was
it out.
discombobulated at that point.
ooh,
I heard a number of colorful phrases. I have to admit that when Art did his prepared speech, I was studiously watching the clock and forgot that I was the grammarian. But in retrospect, I did remember a couple of things. His title was wonderful. Give me a break. That really catches your attention very good. I also like the quote by the Rothschild member. That
Mhm.
was quite interesting to hear that. If I have the control of the currency or the banking, I care not who makes the laws. That's pretty powerful. In Jean's table topic, she said something like financial success arises from a period where there's a lack of success. Art in his table topic said, he had the phrase blasting around the Atlantic Ocean on his father's ship. And he also wrapped up by saying it takes courage to be the commanding officer on a ship like that. Aaron in his table topic said at one point, the supervisor had his number. that one. Had kind of a mob feel to it.
Yeah.
And I like in Jean's evaluation of my table topic, she said, "What a sadistic coach." You were right. That's my report as grammarian. Thanks.
And Aaron, as our odd counter this evening, can I give you a report?
Certainly, Mr. General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, start out with Jean. She had 4 ahs, 2 ums, 1 well, couple ands, 4 repeats, and 2 of the Jean signature tongue clicks. Dan, 1 ah, 1 so, 1 ands, 1 kinda. Art, clean as far as I could tell.
No, I had several false starts. Several false starts.
Okay, false start. He has integrity
All right.
from last week.
I was probably focusing too much on my evaluation. Well, thank you for checking yourself.
Mm.
Bob, 2 ahs and 1 and. And that's my report. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Aaron. As this evening general evaluator, do I have a time on this? 2 to 3 minutes?
You have 3 to 4, Bob, but there is a very important role that we still need to do before you go. The ever,
Oh, I got it.
you got it, okay.
The yoke.
All right, I was jumping the gun. Mr. Art Atkinson's gonna give us our joke this evening. Art.
So I had a silver dollar until my dog got a hold of it and chewed on it. Now I've got a Bitcoin. Why do Bitcoiners want to have a Lamborghini instead of a Ferrari? Because Ferrari is owned by Fiat.
Wow.
Oh, whoa, Bitcoin humor. Uh-huh.
That's it. Back to you,
All right.
Evaluator.
Thank
Right.
you, Mr. Master. Now do I move on, Gene?
Right, 3 to 4 minutes for Dan will give you 3, 3.5, and 4.
And if I fail to make that,
If you what?
make that, should I talk real slow and then start to? I might get disqualified. But anyways, here we go. All right, Jean, she gave the evaluation. She had the greetings. She gave good greetings. When she shared, she knew the story, so she knew she was able to read the question that Art had done, and she gave them there. And then, yeah. Sharon followed through. Sorry, Jean. My suggestion is, because I just need to take better notes, this is not my forte. It is not. I can ask 100 questions, but evaluating is just, I don't know, just not my.
Practice. It always gets a little better.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is the best joke of the night at Bob, so he can, because he's got to practice at his evaluation. Anyways, Aaron, I agreed with Aaron and suggested Jean talk about. So when Aaron gave her, he greeted well. He gave good praise at Art's speech. He touched the bases and he touched back to when Art was giving his speech as far as statistics and what have you. Aaron had good hand gestures. He had good form, which was good. He gave his opinion on how to improve on the project, which was real good. And then he ended it with praise on Art, that Art did a wonderful job. And we can all stand in agreement with that Art did a wonderful job. As far as Aaron for improvement, I wish I had one, but I don't. You guys did wonderful tonight. So that's the end of my report.
And then you want to hand back? I'll just take over, Bob, because you're flush there with your success. That was actually very, you underestimate yourself. You don't give yourself credit. So you did well. You just keep yourself from getting flustered about it all, and you did it.
Takes courage.
It takes courage. That's right. And it is a good muscle group to work, is how do you evaluate, if you had subcontractors that were in turn overseeing other workers, how do you tell those subcontractors what they need to do to work better with their workers, or, that it's sort of that kind of thing is evaluate. But you can always do well. I'm just going to say quickly, you can always, when you're evaluating evaluators, is look and see how they evaluated the content.
Okay.
And also how they evaluated the delivery. Did they give a suggestion? At least one suggestion. It can be more. And at least one thing that was done well. So again, you're looking for, did the evaluators do that with their evaluatees? And then you're doing the same for them. You're going to say, Aaron, like you said, Aaron gave good feedback for everyone. So you went down the points, and then just be thinking, well, but is there something else I could have told Aaron?
That's where the struggle comes in, because I mean, I don't know, you guys are well-oiled machines. It's hard for me to sit back and say, hey, well, you need to change, when I don't know what that change is.
Well, it's like you just have to keep immersing yourself, but you're doing fine. And it's an abstract thing when you're evaluating an evaluator. So look and see, did the evaluator make comments on the content, the structure, the organization, opening, body, and conclusion? You know that from your first projects. So you just use what you've already done in pathways, and that's really important. And then if you like something particular about their delivery, if they had vocal variety or gestures, faster pitch, faster rate, lower rate, pitch, like that. But and then did they have that conclusion that wrapped around? Did they? And so you're looking to see, does your evaluator help the speaker that they were evaluating with those pieces? And then you can evaluate and just say, well, Aaron gave a lot of comments about gestures, but I didn't hear him commenting on the structure of Art's speech. So for example, and so you could say, I would suggest, so you see what I mean? It's just using your brain a little differently. And you're doing quite well. I assign you evaluator roles with all confidence.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I will keep working on it.
Yeah, that's what we're all doing. All right. So with that, as the Toastmaster, we have some roles. Let me see. It's funny. I have to figure out which thing is being voted for. I have this line of all these things. I have to know where the cutoff was, and I have to look at the time. Okay, so.
I always send my evaluations with a shorthand note about what's, TT is the table topics winner, eval.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That would be helpful, actually.
What the name is about.
Uh-huh.
Because I know the problem.
Right. Okay. So, it looks like not everybody voted table topics, but
I didn't.
Art didn't.
I didn't.
Well, it's hard to not vote here because that means
There's only 5 votes.
there's no votes. But all right, I mean, let's see. Okay. I have a late arriving, a mail-in ballot here, arriving here. Okay. Anything else? All right. So so for table topics, let me grab my thing. Bob's got them too. Dan Craig. Woo, Dan Craig. Yay.
Went through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dan has a thing on his nose, a permanent indent on his nose from his football helmet in high school, like decades ago, because they taught him to block with your head, which of course, hello. I mean,
Use your head.
it's a wonder Dan has any brain activity at all.
What does that mean exactly?
In fact, he's got a built-in excuse if he's acting extremely strangely or having very odd opinions. It's like, well, okay, there's that brain trauma that's showing up. But anyway, yeah, so those coaches are crazy. All right, so anyway, Dan gets the award for that. And then we have evaluator. Okay, well, I mean, it's like anticlimactic. Okay, so it's me. Yay! Yay!
Why is that anticlimactic?
Well, Aaron, you of all people should know, you did not sound very enthusiastic. And so anyway.
I'll be gracious in defeat.
Yeah.
Courageous in defeat?
What?
Courageous in defeat? Is that what you said, or gracious?
Gracious.
Gracious. Yes. Okay. Somebody else put in a new message here, but it may be too late. Oh, thank you, Bob. Okay. Anyway. I'm a little loopy from dog care. I'm just going to pick that up. All right. With that, we can go ahead and turn it back over to our president. It's been very fun as always. And thank you for everyone having the courage to attend Toastmasters and stretch your wings and fly and do all the things that we do here. So, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Just a couple announcements. As we discussed last week, officers' meeting is tomorrow evening from 8 to 9 p.m. I will send out the agenda and link to that probably later tonight. All officers are required to attend, but I guess we're all officers, so it doesn't really matter. Be thinking about participating in our speech contest. We will be having our club contest next month. It's the first meeting in March, correct? Is that what we decided?
I think we said March 2nd.
March 2nd, yes. Does anyone have any other? Yes.
We
Jean.
also are having, we should have some district guests tomorrow night,
Yes.
at least one,
Mary.
maybe Chris Sheehan. I don't know. Mary might be coming. So, and then Dan has some news about one of our members, our inactive members. Dan, you want to tell them about that?
Let's wrap up the meeting and do that off the recording.
Okay, good.
And then I got something too.
Okay.
All right.
Should we record it or should we stop the recording so that to
Doesn't
spare
matter.
the audience?
No. And
whatever's.
recorded. What it was is Mary last night gave us great praise for our District 19, for us, for Golden Speakers, and that we were top notch. We were the elite group to be in. So I just want to pass that on to you.
Oh, you were at Hot Topics. Were
Mhm.
you at the Hot Topics? Excellent. Excellent.
Nice.
Gosh.
Hold a very high standard. We don't let slackers into our thing. You can't just say, well, I'm not ready, or whatever. So we hold a very high standard. That's what she said.
She was talking about when you schedule a speech, you need to give it. Is that right? Yeah, she asked me about that. Said, what do we do? How do we do that? And I said, we threaten physical violence. It's a little hard in a Zoom environment, but we'll send somebody to your house. Don't worry. But that's great, Bob. Really great.
Yeah.
We do have high standards. Yep.
All right, well, if there are no other announcements, then I would like to call tonight's meeting to a close. Thank you all tonight
Yay.
for a very successful meeting. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock for our meeting.